Hi guys, in today's video we are going to be taking a look at some leaked images and gameplay of a new ice plant coming to Plants vs Zombies Battle for Neighborville called Iceberg Lettuce. Now I did recently do a video on all the leaked characters that are potentially making their way into the game, and of course typically the next week we get this massive update. So we are going to be taking a look at some awesome gameplay and images of Iceberg Lettuce, all of which have come from some reliable sources including GermanShu, NM Gaming, and I did get a clip sent to me from Zomboss on my Discord server. Also, please keep in mind that as this is leaked content, everything you see in this video is subject to change and may not reflect the final product. As usual, just before we begin, remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy the content on this channel and want to help it grow. Anyway, let's get started. Right then, so let's dive straight in, shall we? So Iceberg Lettuce has been in the works for quite some time, and up until recently was known as the ice plant. We had received information about the abilities that the character possesses: Backdash, Shield Deploy, Snowball, and an additional one called Self Heal, which I'll talk about later. But no real understanding of what exactly each one does. Some were more obvious than others, but it has become a lot clearer now we can see them in action. In terms of a release date, it is predicted to be either September, October or November. However, I hope this is not the case, as in my opinion PopCap need to rekindle some interest in the game. They have just released a new map and I think they should keep the momentum going by releasing a new character in June. Anyway, let's start off with the primary weapon, which I am really excited to show you. Just be aware that Iceberg Lettuce has no sound effects at the moment. The devs have used existing character sounds as placeholders. So, the primary weapon kind of works like a shotgun. It has 8 shots in the clip and shoots 5 ice projectiles per shot, each of them doing between 1 and 6 damage, so each shot can do a maximum of 30 damage. But that isn't all this weapon does. Iceberg Lettuce also has a secondary weapon called Snowflake, which is really interesting. This weapon also fires 5 ice projectiles like the primary, but instead of doing direct damage, they actually freeze in mid-air for 3 seconds before exploding. And again, these do 6 points of damage each. Now, I really enjoy this mechanic. It definitely allows room for some interesting strategies, particularly as you have 8 shots to play with. You could potentially block off an area temporarily with these icicles or set traps for zombies around corners. Plus, it means if you do miss when shooting an enemy with Snowflake, you still have the potential to do damage. Now we're going to take a look at Iceberg's abilities, and we actually have some conflicting information about this. So according to GermanShu, the abilities are Backdash, Shield Deploy and Snowball. However, according to NM Gaming, the Snowball ability has been scrapped and has been replaced with a Self Heal ability. Of course we don't know which one is correct, but I am going to show you the footage of all the abilities. So first let's look at Backdash, and the best way to describe this ability is it's basically the same as 80s action heroes Dynamite Dash ability, but backwards. When Backdash is activated, a frozen chili pepper is dropped on the ground. Iceberg then dashes backwards, the chili explodes and freezes any enemies caught in the blast radius. The ability does no damage and has a cooldown of 18 seconds. I have to say I absolutely love this attack. I think it might be my favourite. I enjoy that it's a chili pepper that explodes. It's always nice to see little references to other PvZ plants, and of course the fact this actually has a freeze effect is awesome. It will certainly help countering Steam Blaster and Imp, that's for sure. Next up we have Shield Deploy, which I think is the most visually appealing out of all of the abilities. So this one doesn't really need much explanation. As you can see, it basically drops down a stationary ice shield that blocks all incoming damage, but you can still shoot through it. The shield has 200 health, lasts 15 seconds and has a cooldown of 20 seconds. I do like this different take on the shield compared to Citron's. Yes, Iceberg can't move her shield, but she has the advantage of being able to shoot at the same time, and the shield covers a bigger area. Moving on to Snowball, which again is pretty self-explanatory. You fire a big snowball at your enemy doing 30 points of direct damage and 20 points of splash damage, totaling at 50 damage. This ability has 4 levels according to the files, however we are unsure how this will work. It's suspected that the level of this attack may increase depending on the number of enemies vanquished or enemies frozen during a game, but this is just speculation at the moment. Finally, like I said earlier, there is a conflict of information when it comes to the Heal Self ability. So Iceberg's third ability may be Heal Self, or it could be Snowball. Heal Self again works as you'd expect. When active, this ability heals 10 points of damage every 0.1 seconds for a maximum of 2.1 seconds. So potentially she can heal 210 points in 2 seconds, which doesn't really make sense to me, seems a bit overpowered. Not only can she heal, but with this calculation she can overheal herself too, as she has a total of 200 health, but in the footage this doesn't seem to be the case. I'm guessing that self-heal can also be stopped if damage is taken or something like that, just to make it more balanced. From a visual standpoint, I really am quite impressed. Iceberg Lettuce certainly has the cute factor. I mean, look at her little adorable face. And I'm going to say Iceberg Lettuce is a lady plant purely based on the shape of her eyes and the kind of ponytail hairdo going on, which of course is based on the bottom bit of an actual iceberg lettuce. So technically this character is an upside down lettuce. I love the fact they have used different layers and colours of ice to really try and get across the fact that she's a lettuce. I also kind of like how the leaves that I assume are supposed to be her feet kind of resemble that of a penguin's feet with a pointy claw shape, and judging by the angle of them, I could just imagine this character having a waddling animation, but unfortunately this is not the case. I was actually really interested to find out how PopCap were going to design Iceberg Lettuce to be able to move. I was half expecting her just to roll like Citron, however they went with a different tactic and gave her the giant iceberg that somehow magically spins. I find it quite funny that Iceberg Lettuce is on an iceberg. Oh, PopCap, you and your bad but good jokes. I think I would have preferred her rolling and being a bit bigger, as it would have made more sense, but I think this at least makes the character different and stand out. It also makes the character much bigger, because I was concerned we'd be getting another small character. I would like to know whether if you hit the iceberg, if it does damage or not. Speaking of the iceberg, I do also enjoy that a trail of ice follows her wherever she goes. It reminds me of Iceman. Finally, we have some images of some potential perks and gestures for Iceberg. I'm not going to go through all of them, just mention a few good ones. So there's a perk that allows the shield deploy ability to be thrown, which will be super useful for helping your teammates. One that will drop a chili pepper when you get vanquished, and one that will allow you to have multiple shields. In terms of gestures, unfortunately we have no footage of them, but we do have a list of them, but currently none of them have any names. Anyway guys, that's about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of Iceberg Lettuce in the comments below. But other than that, remember to subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.